So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, or ghouls, depending on what member of the audience we got. So, after that quick break, we have our next visitor from the great state of Virginia visiting us. And thank you for. She was going to pull a reliever for us a few minutes ago, but Elena was able to jump on. But let's go ahead and say hello to Miss Daphne Maxwell-Reid. Most of you know her for a role that may have, quote unquote, brought her to the dance as Aunt Viv on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but she has done so much. She's a writer. She's produced with her husband, Tim Reid. And I will say, even though I never dealt with Tim, Daphne's the better half.
You're a smart man.
Yeah. You know, it's okay to admit when the other side is better. But how are you been?
I've been great. It's been a good year.
That's definitely. I can't believe it's been about a year since we actually chatted. So, you know, what have you been? Yeah. Well, and folks, if you have questions, let us know in the chat or do the hand raise gimmick, and we will get you on to ask your questions to Daphne. And Ray, I figured you would have one already. So,
okay, Ray, what you got?
Yeah, we'll go there, Ray.
Okay, I'm on my way, dude. Nice to meet you, Daphne Maxwell-Reid. My name is. Oh, excuse me.
Hey, yeah, I was gonna say we're looking at
Maxwell-Reid. My name is Ray from New Mexico. I am a support fan of the series.
Excellent.
And I bought it from Best Buy. It's a lot, but I appreciate everything. But my two questions are: what made you want to take the part in Fresh Prince?
What made me want to take the part? I wanted to go to work.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's a simple answer.
And the second question.
It was a cute show, so I said, yeah, I'll come try to play. I had to audition for that role. There were 200 other people wanted that role.
Definitely agree.
And you said you had another question, sir?
Yes. What did you like the qualities about Aunt Vibe when it came to that character?
Aunt Viv, you mean?
Yes, please. When it came to playing her part, what are the qualities you like about her when you played her?
I liked that she was a strong woman who was in love with her husband and had some wonderful, crazy children to raise. It kind of reflected my life.
Awesome answer. I love the answer. It's awesome.
Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome.
Well, before Ray volunteered with a question, I was going to ask, what have you been doing with this busy year? I know when we talked, you had the cookbook coming out and such, so you said it's been a good year or so. So what's been going on?
They've discovered that old ladies can still act. So I've been doing lots of little films all year, last year and this year. So it's been just a fun ride.
Absolutely. And I know she's excited, the guest we had during the previous segment, Elena. I'm curious to know, since she saying in the chat she can't believe it's you. I wanted to give
Without hair.
yeah, I wanted to give her an opportunity if she would like to say hello and whatnot. So if you want to pop back on camera and whatnot, feel free. Yeah, because she was getting excited when I said you were going to be on. She's like, really?
I saw her face when I had logged in, but where'd
Yeah.
she go?
But I guess
Oh,
why
she's hiding now.
yeah, she's hammer crab. No, but and I know we talked about this because I think it was around the time that we had our previous chat that the HBO Max documentary that Will and all put out was coming out or had just come out. So what's the response been over the time since that came out?
It has been remarkable, obviously, since I got all that work. But it is also remarkable in that we recognize the iconic status of that old show and really appreciated the response that we got from people who had appreciated it. For now, we're in our third generation of folks watching the show, and they're still watching it and wanted to know all the little things that we chatted about at the reunion. So it was a glorious occasion for us because it was the first time that we had all been together in the same place at the same time. We've seen each other over the years in little groups, but this was the first time we were all back together again, and it was just like an actual family reunion.
And if I remember correctly, that was the first time you actually met Janet, the lady you took the role over from.
Yes.
So do you guys, and obviously some people can look at it as awkward and whatnot, but I know you went in like a pro and everything. So have you guys communicated since?
We've had a chat or two. Yeah. She likes the clothes that I make.
Yes,
so
I was
trying to line her up with one of those. And I mean, I had never met her before, didn't know anything about the beef, so I was a total innocent.
Like you said, you were going into work.
She belonged there because she started the show.
Well, speaking of which, and I know we discussed this as well, and fans, again, let us know if you got questions. But did you finish your degree at Northwestern with the design work and such?
Yes, interior design and architecture. Yeah.
So how does that go into the fashion line?
Has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
It has more to do with my photography career portion, where the photographs that I take are based on my architectural background. And I have an affinity to doors. So I take doors around the world and create posters and make books and note cards. And I finally designed a piece of fabric and started making tote bags out of the pictures of doors that I take.
And how's that been going so far?
Just grand, absolutely grand.
That is awesome to hear. And it was funny when I was talking about you before you jumped on, and it was all good.
Okay.
But yeah, everything's been positive. But I was mentioning hubby Tim Reed, and you guys have the production or had the production company in Virginia there, which was one of the first of its kind. Is that still up?
That was a studio. It's not just a production company. We've had a production company for 45 years, but we built a full service film studio, which was the first one in the state of Virginia. And we were there for about 18 years, and then we sold it.
Oh, okay. And you know, it's funny. I was rereading notes I had from our previous conversation and just doing some due diligence before this again. And I can't believe I missed it, but I noticed you guys had a talk show for a little bit on, what's it, King's World?
King World, yes. They did it kind of as a pilot, but 72 episodes later, they didn't pick it up.
Hey, Edward, I see your question. Do you want to jump on and ask yourself?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, so Jonathan said that you were a writer. I just wanted to ask if there was a particular work that you were proud of. I'd like to check out your writing.
Well, a writer, I would not consider myself a writer. I have published books on the photographs that I've taken around the world. And there's some words in it, but that's the writing that I've done. But mostly I'm a publisher of the works that I do. I self-published 4 books and a cookbook. So there's lots of writing in the cookbook.
That's
Check
cool.
it out. It's on my website, which is DaphneMaxwell-Reid.com.
Yeah, I'll do that. My wife's a photographer as well. She might find some interest there.
Good.
It's
Good,
funny.
good.
I'm a professional writer. I write for business, and I don't consider myself a writer either. So I understand. On that same token, though, is there something that you're reading right now that you would say is worth the look?
All I've been reading is contracts lately. We were in the middle of doing a whole lot of work, the studio company. So I haven't had the pleasure of reading any. The last thing I read was Will's book,
Nice.
which was a wonderful account of his growing up. And I can't see how he can remember all those details. So I certainly can't. But it was a marvelous, marvelous book.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, you bring up an interesting point there, reading contracts and everything else like that. And of course, there's agents and lawyers and all involved. But was there a certain point you tried to smarten yourself up to understand the contracts so you don't feel like people were taking advantage of you?
I have always read my contracts. I'm a real smart lady, and I can interpret BS and I understand the lingo. And when we had the studio, it was my job to make sure that everything was on the up and up in the square. And I worked with our partners and I did accounting. It was horrible, but I did it and I learned a lot. And I still use some of those skills in our personal life.
It's amazing how quickly we will learn stuff when we're under the fire, isn't it?
That's right. When you have to, you get to it. My life has been a series of learning journeys, and I enjoy the process of learning. So it was not a big deal for me.
Well, that is definitely impressive. And one of the things I always liked about you, because from the time we started dealing with each other, I knew you were a smart cookie, but to know you were diving deep into making sure everything was crossed and I's were dotted. Yeah. But I want to bring up, and I know we talked about this during our chat before, that you were with the Elaine Ford agency at one time. Yes. And you were so proud to grace the cover of Glamour. So was that something you pursued, or was that something that just happened to come about?
It just happened to come about and was as much a surprise to me as to anybody else. I had been working with Eileen while I was in school and flying back and forth between Chicago and New York for modeling jobs. They were paying me to sit there and smile, and boy, I liked that. So I kept doing it. And I went one trip, and the mentor who was kind of doing my booking said, "Oh, come in today, just put on this red jacket, just sit on the window there and pull your hair to the side, and just a little lip gloss, that's all you need." And I sat on the windowsill, and a man came in, the photographer came in. I don't know if he used a whole roll of film, and he just took some pictures, and I got down off the window and went back to school. And I was walking by the newsstand and looked and saw my face on the cover of Glamour. And then I heard I was the first Black woman who ever graced the cover of Glamour magazine.
With that being said, and that is truly groundbreaking, people might think, oh, well, it's just a cover of a magazine. It might be this or that. But that, for you, when you heard a statistic like that, has to make you so proud that you were like, you know what?
You
Put that
know,
on my
it
belt.
really didn't move me. I'm sorry, but I've done a lot of being the first in a lot of occasions. And you don't know you're the first. You just know you're doing what you want to do. And you happen to be the first to do it. But it doesn't change the trajectory of your life. It doesn't change how you feel about yourself, because I've always been proud of what I was doing, whether I was the first or the last. So it really doesn't impact you like it's a celebratory thing. You celebrate afterwards because people go, oh my God, you were the first. Okay. It was just a job to me. So it wasn't like I was striving to be the first at something. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and the stars aligned. And that has been the story of my life. I just think I'm blessed.
Well, with that being said, would you say it's and I appreciate you being humble. And folks, this is Daphne at her finest. But would you say it's more exciting for your kids and whatnot to be able to say, well, hey, mom did this, or grandma did this, or, you know what I mean? For the family to say, hey, are they more
Yeah,
excited?
but not in front of me. They do it with their friends, I guess, because they, hey, Ma, that's all I get, you know.
Oh, boy. So let's see. I feel like I know how to read my notes and stuff. So, favorite moment from Fresh Prince? Is there one that sticks out?
Well, there were a lot of favorite moments for different reasons, but of course, my favorite moment was my first episode when I showed up, and the reaction that I got from the audience and from Will and from the cast. It was so warm and welcoming and wonderful. It was among the height of my favorite moments.
And I know this story's been told, but with coming into a role that's been established, and I know actors and actresses like to make a role they're hired for their own. So how did you try to make the role of Aunt Viv your own, even though you had this previous seasons of what the character was?
I showed up and brought what I had. That's all I could do. I can't be hers. I don't have her gifts. She doesn't have mine. We're two different people. I just showed up for work and established a relationship with the family, which was all that I could do. I can't try to be something that I'm not, or someone that I'm not. I have to be the person that I bring to that character.
Very, very well said. And I'm curious to know, we were talking about it before you jumped on too, is obviously Peacock has the new series of Bel Air, and I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it's so good.
Yes, but what I was going to bring up with it is I talked to a few people that have watched it, and it's more of a serious series compared to
Sure.
where you guys were more of, you had serious moments, but was more of a comedy show. So
We were a half-hour comedy. This is a 1-hour dramatization of the same storyline. It's not a reboot. It's not taking the old show and redoing it with younger people. It is a different view of the same story of a young man coming from West Philadelphia and moving into Bel Air. The characters are their own stories, and they're able to expand on these stories in this series. And they cast it magnificently. I just am so proud of the work that they are doing. And the way it's shot, it looks cinematic. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I like it.
well, that is interesting to hear. Now, with that being said, and it's a different spin on it, like you said, being a drama more than anything else, have they ever asked any of you guys from the original series to possibly, even if it's just a quick cameo to be a part of it?
March 24th, watch episode 109.
Ooh, folks, I believe they call that a tease. Well, you were mentioning your designs for the bags and stuff. In your background there, is that one of the bags based on?
That's a bunch of them. Yeah, hanging on the door, on the chest there. And one of the coats that I make for clients.
So what would you say, and I know you mentioned earlier when you first popped on about it's been a good year with some acting roles and everything else, and you did the cookbook and everything else, the design work. What would you say is the current thing that keeps you the most busy?
Well, whipping up these tote bags has kept me pretty busy for the past month. But running out to LA to shoot in Bel Air was one thing that kept me busy in the past month, and getting ready for a whole lot of changes coming up in May and June with my husband and I, and the work that he's doing. It's a busy time doing a lot of, I guess you would say, preparation work.
Is this going to be good changes or?
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So what is, and I was saying about him per se, but what is Tim still got his hand very deep into the cookie jar when it comes to the entertainment field, would you say? Excuse me.
He has just created a new streaming network and he's putting it up now, and it's wonderful. It has a lot of the documentaries that he has created over the years, a lot of projects of the students that he has trained internationally, and it's a fabulous channel, and you should go to lgcytv.com and look at what he's got going, because he's been a busy boy.
And that's definitely a good thing. Now, on that website that you mentioned there, with his new service that is going to be up and going, is it going to be affiliated with, say, Time Warner and Comcast and the different outlets, or is it just going to be strictly internet?
Strictly internet.
Wow, this whole internet concept is great.
It's growing. It's growing. Yeah.
Well,
and it gives you the opportunity to take control of your content and distribute it as you want to.
That's probably the biggest thing that you deal with now as an artist or a performer, entertainment, that you want total control, or not total control, but you want a good say with what you're putting out there for your product.
Yeah.
So as an actress, though, over the years, as you have grown with doing that, was there a certain point that you can speak up and say, hey, and make suggestions for the roles that you were brought in, or are you just a go with the flow kind of woman?
I'm a go with the flow. You show me what you want me to do, and if it doesn't impede my integrity, let's go to work.
Right on. And you know, it's funny you bring up the integrity, because we had an actor named Michael Berryman on with us earlier, and that was a big deal to him as far as doing things for his integrity and such.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad to hear when performers, whether it be musicians or actors, actresses, designers, whatever you do, try to have a high standard for integrity.
Well, if you know that this business is a business and that the images you create will last forever, you want to make sure that you're not putting anything out there that you would not want your children or grandchildren to see.
Have you ever been presented something that you weren't comfortable with? Or did they ever try to change things, present you with one idea and say, when you get to set one day, hey, we want to do this instead?
No, it comes in when they send me sides of a character, something to audition for. And I said, well, this one I can't find a way to resonate with this character, so I don't do the audition. And otherwise, no, they've never tried any switcheroos on me.
Well, that is good because Mr. Michael was talking about a switcheroo they tried to present to him with a job, and it was like, nah, this is not what I signed on for. So,
No,
Mr.
I make those clarifications before I take the job.
Awesome. Mark, I know you just come back into the room because he was taking care of some personal business. I know you had some questions for Miss Reed. Hey, Mark, did you lose?
We
'Cause he was-
lose.
We lose them. Clear. Where's the paddles? Make sure he's good.
Have you guys got 20 seconds for me to run and turn the oven off of my rice pudding that is done?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Well, why that being said, like I said, I hope she made enough rice pudding for the rest of us. So, Edward, while we are waiting for Miss Daphne, I didn't know you were into the writing.
Yeah, that's what always intrigued by, a good writer is a good reader, I always say. So I'm always intrigued by, other people's style, see if there's something I can steal from them, basically. But
I don't they call that
We
copyright?
oh, that's my kid's toy over here acting crazy. Yeah, that LGCY network, I was scoping it out, man. It looks dope. There was something else similar to that. It wasn't streaming. It was just like I'll see if I can find it. It was pretty interesting. It was similar though, but yeah, it looks exciting, man.
He had that legacy TV on another platform before.
That may be
and
what
that
I'm.
was supposed to have stopped. So
Yeah, that
he's
may
got
be it
this
then.
platform that he's really interested in.
Yeah, something to look forward to.
Well,
Good.
that being said, and it's interesting, and I'm glad Ed you picked that up and was checking out the Tim's website. But Daphne, for the changes of platforms, because we've gone from TV to the internet, and now we have streaming services and such. How has those changes through the years been for you as an actress? Does it give you more opportunity to work, or is it like get off my
Well, not
lawn?
specific, but everybody. I mean, when I started, there were 3 networks, and that's where you worked. Unless you did trade shows or, some other kind of work. But once cable came in, it opened up a lot more channels for people. And then now with these iPhones and streaming and everything, everybody's a producer and everybody's a director. And there's so many more outlets for them to show their work. And there's Instagram and YouTube and lots of places where people can express themselves, which I think is a great thing.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear you're not one of those get off my lawn type of people. I'm so used to, the flat screen or internet, the evolution, I guess you would say, with it. And especially you bring up about the 3 channels and such. And for those who don't know, but I think Daphne would agree with this, there it wasn't always crossover with talent too, where if you were a TV actor, you did TV, or if you did movies, you did movies. Where nowadays you see people cross over on all mediums.
Yeah, that you didn't even cross over on networks most of the time because you usually did show after show after show on the same network. A lot of things have.
Was that like the old movie contracts that you were a quote unquote property of the Warner Brothers type deal?
No, it just was the circumstances at the time. If you had a successful show, then they wanted to do another show with you. So there was no need to go to another network. Now, if you wanted to fight, then you go to another network and they do a kind of a network battle, but you just see who wins.
Right on.
You really have much control over where your show was going to be. It was where whoever was buying will buy your concept.
Hey, Ray, you mentioned why she. Oh, I meant to ask, since you went to turn off the oven there for the rice pudding and stuff, you made it for everybody, right?
Yes, I got a big, big pot.
Nice. But is that I want to bring up the cookbook since you talk about cooking the rice pudding and all. How's the response been for the book?
I sold out my first printing and I'm on my second printing now. So I think it's been pretty successful. I'm pleased.
Can't go wrong with that being said.
No.
But we are coming up against a break, Miss Daphne, and I want to thank you for your time. But I'm curious to know, since we are doing this for Children's Hospital of LA, have you had any dealings with them, whether going to visit patients or donating, or did you have any close association with the hospital at all?
No, we didn't have children when we were in Los Angeles. They were kind of grown. So we've never really had any need for the Children's Hospital, but I'm glad that they finally got it built. I remember being there and they were talking about it. And there were a lot of needs for children's hospitals. We just built a new one in Richmond, and was a great need that we had here as well. I just think it's wonderful that they can dedicate that kind of property to a specific group, say children, and focus on everything to make them thrive.
And the good thing about what we're doing too, and all donations are going directly to the hospital through the secure link that we have been sharing. But the good thing is, and I can't stress it enough, and people, yes, they heard about Jimmy Kimmel's monologue talking about his son, Billy. And he said that, hey, you know what? I'm fortunate enough. I got health insurance, good health insurance. I definitely have the finances to do what needs to be done for my son. But the people who go to some of these hospitals, whether it be LA or Philadelphia, Richmond, whatever the case may be, they may not have insurance and they take these kids in anyway. So every dollar counts.
Excellent. I have been working, I'm on the board of Child Fund International, and we take care of feeding and educating children all over the world. So I've always been interested in the thriving of the younger generations.
Because like Michael Berryman said earlier, those kids are our next generation. There's no denying that. So we got to make sure they're taken care of.
So let them be in charge with smarts.
Yes, we got to make sure that next generation is taken care of, because I know in a few years from me, I'll need some of them to change my diapers and such. But that's a whole nother. But
yes.
If you mention a website, could you mention website again and any social media if you want people to, or if people want to come follow you?
Come follow me at Ms. Daphne, MSDAPHNE, and the number 13, and that's my IG. And my website is Daphne, DAPHNE, Maxwell-Reid, REID.com. And it shows all the different things that I'm involved in. And there's a place for you to buy things too. And I certainly would like to hear that somebody has bought something from my website. And
if you do, please let her know on social media that you heard about it here.
Here on the Crazy Train.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Daphne, lovely to talk to you again. And anything comes up, please let us know.
Will do. Be well. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you so much.
Lots of money.
Yes, let's do that.
All right.
So, folks, I'm going to catch a couple-minute break here, go to the little girls' room and such. Then we got Melanie Kinnaman from Friday, The New Beginning, joining us. So, thank you, Daphne.
Thank you, guys.